1,500 established.
Question number 12, Iain Lees-Galloway.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question is to the Prime Minister and asks, what assurances, if any, has he and the Minister of Defence received about the safety of the New Zealand Provincial Reconstruction Team in Afghanistan?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I've received assurances that our PRT is well trained, has the best available equipment for the operating area in accordance with the judgment of the NZDF, has a full range of enabling support from our ISAF partners. Having said that, governments past and present have been advised that Afghanistan poses risks. It is a very volatile environment.
Iain Lees-Galloway.
What additional efforts have been made to secure mine-resistant vehicles other than the request made to lease such vehicles from the United States?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, it's possibly worth putting a bit of context around, I think, what the member is asking. Back after the death of Tim O'Donnell, a review was done about safety equipment and what might be best used. The Defence Force, as I understand it, in theatre, had some discussions with the Americans about possible use of MRAP vehicles. Those MRAP vehicles, as it turned out, weren't available, but prior to actually doing all that, or post doing that, there was a full review done of whether what would be the best equipment for our men and women in Afghanistan. They looked at, amongst other things, LAVs, MRATs and potentially other vehicles as well. The decision was made that, on balance of all risks involved, the best equipment were the LAVs for the conditions our men and women would face.
Iain Lees-Galloway.
Will the New Zealand Provincial Reconstruction Team be required to carry out patrols in Baghlan Province without the use of mine-resistant vehicles, given that American troops need special permission to use Humvees because of their vulnerability to IEDs?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, that's an operational matter for the New Zealand Defence Force, so I'll leave them to answer that. All I can say is that in whatever duties that are undertaken by our men and women in Afghanistan, they do so with the New Zealand Defence Force making sure that they take into consideration at all times providing the maximum safety and security they can within the context of a war zone. I'd also make the point that in no time since we have been the government has there ever been a request from the NZDF for equipment for our people in Afghanistan that has ever been declined.
Richard Prosser.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Supplementary to the Prime Minister. Can the government give an assurance to the public that an emergency exit plan is in place for our forces in Afghanistan?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Mr Speaker, I'm not sure I understand fully what the member means by an emergency exit plan. What I can give the member an assurance of is that the NZDF will be looking at the transition process as we look to leave Afghanistan very carefully. They'll work on making sure that we provide the safest exit for our people, but I would just simply hasten to add that is a dangerous environment and represents one of the more dangerous parts of the operation in the PRT since we've been there in 2003.
Point of order, Richard Prosser.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. My question was about an emergency exit plan, not about a plan for the existing exit.
Well, the Prime Minister in his answer said he wasn't sure what the member meant by an emergency exit plan, if I heard the Prime Minister correctly. And that if he's not sure what the member means, he can't answer further. And unfortunately, that the member doesn't have any more supplementary questions today. But it would have warranted a further supplementary under normal circumstances. Iain Lees-Galloway.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. Why did he announce 2 weeks ago that the New Zealand Provincial Reconstruction Team would commence patrolling in Baghlan Province, signalling that intention to opposing forces, when he did not have what the Minister of Defence calls a clear understanding of the roles defence personnel would be doing?
The Right Honourable Prime Minister.
Well, Mr Speaker, I reject that proposition.
And that brings to a close questions for oral answer today. Would some honourable member care